Welcome to Swolehammer. Even though we love the frantic action of Warcry and the skirmish gameplay of Kill Team, there's something to be said about fielding a big army. Hence why I started Starting Sigmar. For whoever is new to the channel or series, the mission of these videos are to help new players make a fun and efficient army from a specific faction, rounding out to a 1,000-point list, which is the lowest tier of competitive play. We also want to make it easy to acquire these items and enjoyable to hobby with. The criteria are as follows. We avoid making lists with repeat models. Models need to be easily accessible either from a Games Workshop store or Amazon. I like to support local, but sometimes prices can't be beat online. All models suggested are in plastic, and we only focus on armies with the current edition's battle tomes. We're in the 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, otherwise these videos would go out of date quicker. So join me as we collect skulls with the Blades of Khorne. So why play Blades of Khorne? If you relish combat and hate all things magic, then Khorne is the chaos god for you. Like the other gods, the armies of Khorne, the blood god, are divided into mortals and demons. Both play similarly, so a lot comes down to visual preference. Which kind of deathcore album do you want to listen to? However, gameplay-wise, there are some important distinctions. Demons have access to prayers now, previously a mortal's only boon, and big monsters like bloodthirsters to tear apart the land with speed and ferocity, while the mortals use heavy armor and stacking buffs from their multitude of small heroes to grind their opponents to dust. As single-minded as Khorne seems to be in the lore, the armies have a lot of nuance on the table in 3rd edition, on top of which they gain blood tithe points from each slain unit, be it yours or your opponent's, to spend on abilities to shift the battle in your favor. Khorne cares not from where the blood flows. On to units to look out for, and the biggest one for mortals is the old Khorne Start Collecting. This has the only place to get Khorgoraths, to my knowledge, a Mighty Lord of Khorne, and also a Bloodstoker and Bloodsecrator. 3 super important heroes that you'll need for your Khorne Mortals army. A lot of these models you'll be able to find at your LGS, especially if they have used models. People trade these in like crazy, so keep an eye out. On the demon side, we have the Blood Throne. This is a much maligned unit that has seen a lot of boost in the new edition because of it getting the priest keyword. You can find this in the old Demons Start Collecting for Khorne. Otherwise, it shouldn't be too much money, around $45 MSRP. If you don't want the Blood Throne, it also makes the Skull Cannon, which is actually a pretty good unit, both in 40k, as of right now, and Sigmar. On to buy list number 1, focusing on Khorne Mortals. We got the Blade of Khorne Vanguard box, which actually is a super good Vanguard box. I'll say it right here. Everything you want: Blood Reavers, Blood Warriors, Mighty Skull Crushers, and a Slaughter Priest. Next up, the Drom Underworlds box. Now this can be replaced with a few different things, but I honestly like the way Drom plays in Age of Sigmar, and he's one of the few Underworlds kind of kits that isn't hyper confusing. Then we have a box of Wrathmongers, which we are going to build as Skull Reapers, which is the alternate build, leading to just a tiny bit over $200. But we can't forget the demon side of the book, and we're actually using the 40k Combat Patrol, which is the equivalent of a Vanguard box in Sigmar. And this is the perfect start to either a Khorne Demons list in Sigmar or 40k, because they can be used in both. Then we're finishing off the list, simply enough, Karanak the 3-headed Fleshhound, rounding out to under $200 for your Khorne Demons list. Now onto the list themselves, and we're doing Gore because that's one of the 3 mortal specific subfactions, and the Gore buff is just good. We have 2 Slaughter Priests technically as our leader. For this list, I actually was going to put the new Realm Gore Ritualist, and instead of Skull Reapers, make the Wrathmongers, and that goes to 1,000 points even. So if that is something you wanted to do and spend an extra $30 to do that, the triple Khorne Priest meta could be alive. Otherwise, the Skull Reapers still slap, and then we have the rest of the Vanguard box, Blood Warriors and Blood Reavers to sit on points. Mighty Skull Crushers and Blood Warriors will clog up objectives. They're super hard to shift, Blood Warriors have a 3-up save. Mighty Skull Crushers have a 2-up save baseline. So you're just gonna, like I said earlier in the video, grind out your opponent and use those priest buffs to make things shift into your favor. Now onto the demons list, and we're doing Bloodlords because we have so many Blood Letters and then a Blood Master and 3 Blood Crushers that the Bloodlords buff will go off more often than not. Otherwise, the Combat Patrol, which also includes 10 Fleshhounds, and we bought Karanak. Then we have the Bloodmaster, who is now a priest as well. These prayers are super strong, so you're gonna want them at any point that you can get them. I know if you've watched these videos, it's probably weird that I didn't shove a greater demon like one of the Bloodthirsters or Scarbrand into this list, but honestly, I'm kind of low on them in the book, and Bloodletters have one of the biggest boosts I've seen in 3rd edition, so I really like them right now. But with speed, so many bodies, and prayers to boot, this list will surely slap in 1,000 points. So that's it! Even though I tried not to do Starting Sigmars in a row, and Slaanesh won the poll, people are still hyped for that Khorne Starting Sigmar, so I figured give the viewers what they want. If there are any other Starting Sigmars you'd like to see, please let us know in the comments. The 2 Death factions are coming out. We have a pretty long playlist of Starting Sigmars now, so also go back and see if there are ones that I already did. As always, this is Rafiq with Swolehammer. Stay swole.